Good morning. I'm Ruth Ann O'Kane. I teach the adult Sunday school class Crosstalk. A few weeks ago, I was sitting on the couch doing my usual flipping channels, and the phone rang. It was Miss Brenda. "I need a favor," she says. "Sure, what's up?" I replied. "I need you to teach Sunday school online in August." Long, awkward pause from me as I was trying to think of a way I could get out of this. And I said, "Is there anything else I could do? Choice B or C?" "Nope. Sunday school's all I've got." So I reluctantly agreed. And then I started wondering, well, what could I teach that would be nearly as good as the other Sunday school lessons you've had? I'm no Miss Melissa or Miss Peggy, Mr. Little, or any of the others that you have enjoyed having Sunday school with. And I sure do appreciate all the wonderful lessons they've brought. So I started thinking about what I could do. And I was at school the other day, and I found a book, and it was called Having a Merry Heart in a Martha World. Well, that was something I was interested in. And the same week, one of my daily devotions was about being present, and not just being in the room present, but actually being present with your family. Well, we've all been stuck in the same house since March, so I was thinking surely that's something we could talk about, was being present. So I started looking around my house one night, and everybody was either on a cell phone or a device. And so I pointed out that we were not present, although we were in the same room. So I made everybody turn off their device, turn off their phone, so we could just hang out a little while. So that got me thinking, if we are present with our families, then are we really present with God too? Have we neglected Him with our time? So that brings me to today's lesson. Here's a recap of the story of Mary and Martha from the book of Luke, in case you've forgotten. As Jesus and His disciples were on their way, He came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to Him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what He said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to Him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work all by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen that which is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Are you a Mary or a Martha? Well, my friends have labeled me a Mary, mostly because I'm famous for last-minute preparations, and they don't seem to think it bothers me to step over a pile of toys or a pile of clothes in the floor. But I'd turn into a Martha in a hot minute if someone's coming over, especially if it were Jesus. Part of me wants to side with Mary on this one. Mary could have helped out with the cooking and cleaning. Then they both could have enjoyed being with Jesus and listening to what He was teaching. I'm always informing people at my house that we live in a house, not a hotel. So you need to start helping out around here. So I get why Martha was aggravated with her sister. So like many of us, she goes and tattles to a higher authority with the classic "this isn't fair" speech. Well, let's give Martha some credit here. Unlike most of us, who would have let our anger and our frustration boil over, and we would have told everybody, including the Facebook community, how mad we were, except the person we were actually mad at. But Martha went straight to Jesus. She tells Him how she's feeling. We have that same audience with God today. He's ready to listen in the middle of our emotional tirade. Whatever we are feeling, it's okay. We can go straight to God, just like Martha did. He's ready to listen. He offers the same support that He offers Martha. Jesus' gentle answer to Martha is a good reminder to each of us that being present is what is most important, and not to be worried or distracted by the world, but to keep our focus on God. We all live in a Martha world. We're exhausted by our jobs, our families, and our responsibilities. So, which is better, to be a Mary or a Martha? Well, we should be both. One is not right, while the other is not wrong. We are all different, and that's how God made us. Each gift and personality has its own strengths and weaknesses. Jesus could have said, "Martha, why can't you be more like your sister?" But he didn't. He only said, what Mary has chosen is the better part. Personality-wise, it was probably much easier for Mary, since she appears to have a more mellow nature, just to have time to sit with Jesus. But making time for Jesus is a choice that we all have to make, whether we're a Mary or a Martha. We are each part Mary. We have the desire to be close to Jesus and worship, yet we are part Martha as well. Arthur Charles Hummel says that our good intentions are often swallowed up by our urgent needs. Sometimes the phone rings and we're taken away by the information that came on the other end of the phone, and we forget that we were about to spend some quiet time with Jesus, or there's an emergency with the children. So some things are important and some things are urgent. The important things, like prayer and time with God, often get pushed to the side when those urgent things demand an instant action. Our important things get pushed until tomorrow, next week, or eventually next year. So how can we get that Mary heart in a Martha world? Jesus invites us to leave the hectic world of Martha and sit at his feet with Mary. We see how these women transform throughout the Bible. Martha receives Jesus' rebuke that there is time for work, but also for worship. Later in the Bible, we see that Martha is less frantic and is filled with faith and trust. Mary transforms as well. When Jesus' time is short, we see Mary jumping into action and serving Jesus, not being the mild, meek character that we meet in the original story. The world we live in seems to applaud achievement, while God desires our companionship. While the world says, "Do more, Martha, be everything to everybody," God whispers, "Be still and know that I am God." I found this analogy that I think brings the story of Mary and Martha home for us. When we put work and the world before worship, we are putting the cart before the horse. The cart is important, but the horse is important too. If we put the cart before the horse, then we end up pulling the cart by ourselves. Frustrated, we'll grow weary, and we can nearly break under the pressure. But when we first spend time in God's presence, he gives us the horsepower that we need to pull even the heaviest loads of life. The only thing God requires of us is to be present with an open heart. My son Benjamin found this quote from golfer Ben Hogan, and he used it in his senior yearbook. It suits his personality. He's a Mary too. And it's a fitting closing for our time together today. As you walk down the fairway of life, you must stop and smell the roses, for you only get to play one round. Take some time today. Be present with your family. Hope you have a great day.